Persistent rain and a rush of water brought by Tropical Cyclone Eloise in recent weeks have pushed key dam levels higher across South Africa. The Department of Water and Sanitation says critical dams in the Integrated Vaal River System are now 82% full. At the same time last year, dam levels were below 65%. Professor Mike Muller is with Wits School of Governance and is the chair of the Water Institute of South Africa's Technical Committee. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor.
Good evening to you and to your viewers.
So, Gauteng, the Free State, the Northwest and Mpumalanga rely on IVRS for their water. What has been the impact of the low dam levels? Because it has been months and months of this.
You know, we always expect the dam levels to go up and down. They go down in winter when it's dry and they come up again in summer when it's wet. And if you have a very good rainy season, and we're having a pretty good season, they fill up nicely. What we've got to prepare for, though, is when they go down over winter and then we have a bad rainy season and then we don't have enough water in storage. So we're quite happy with, as a water sector, with the way that the dams are behaving, but we don't want to fool ourselves. We know that there'll be a dry season coming and we need to be ready for it.
And we'll talk about that in just a moment, but I just want to first look at what we've been through, including the impact on key industries, energy sector being amongst them, because they're reliant on the IVRS system. What has that been?
Well, you know, they are very fortunate that the way the system is managed, they get advised probably a year in advance if there's going to be any restrictions. So in October last year, there was some talk that if it didn't start raining soon and well, we might have to introduce restrictions. And then, fortunately, the rains did start in November and it didn't prove to be necessary. So if the people who manage the water try and make sure there's enough there so that you don't have to restrict economic activity, power station generation, and, of course, water in the home. We don't want to have water cuts. Thank you very much.
So let's talk about what you are saying, that we need to have some sort of a safety net. So we've seen the Grootdraai Dam near Sanitation in Mpumalanga. That's now at 108% full. There are other dams in other provinces that are at these levels. So will this buy us enough time? I hear you talking about the winter months, but we're still within the scorching temperatures period as well. Is that still a threat?
At the amount of water in storage and say this will certainly take us through till the end of summer, through the winter, and into the next season. What happens next season is what we have to start thinking about and prepare for. And preparing might also mean building more storage.
All right, Professor, let's see if we can get past that lag interruption. Okay, you can go ahead.
Right, as I was saying, if we have the water in store, we can rely on it and we can say to people, you can use as much as you need. But if we are growing the amount...
All right, unfortunately, we do have a poor connection to Professor Muller. It's such a pity because there's still a lot to ask him, to talk also about the ailing infrastructure, to find out what can be done, what you and I can do as citizens to try and preserve water. So, okay, Professor Mike Muller is back again with us. So, Professor Muller, you're talking about what we could be doing to at least manage until the winter months when there is obviously less rain. So please, if you don't mind repeating that again.
What we do every year is we collect the water when it rains in the dams, and then we check and see how much there is and how much is being used. And doing that, we can advise people, yes, you can carry on using what you need, or perhaps we need to be careful because next year, if we have poor rains, we won't have enough. What we are also planning to do as the use grows is to build new storage. So we have Lesotho Highlands being built. We have a plan for Mkomazi in KwaZulu-Natal. There's a need for a new dam in Mbombela. Those are projects that will help us cope in the future when consumption goes up. But for the moment, for this year, up here in Gauteng and surrounds, we're fine. Down in Nelson Mandela Bay, where they haven't been so lucky with the rain, they are still under restrictions because the rain doesn't fall everywhere at the same time. So let's remember those people who are still in...
Okay, Professor Muller, we're going to give it one last shot, and I want to ask this question because that's a very important thing. We have aging water infrastructure, and that continues to be a great concern. How much do the leaks that we have and other problems account for the water loss? Because that is what is within our control.
Our municipalities have to work better. Just about everywhere across the country, they can improve. Some municipalities are in a disastrous state, and it's not that the infrastructure is necessarily old. It's not properly managed. It's not properly maintained. And until we put sound professional management in place in our municipalities, we will always have problems. And many of the water shortage problems we have are not to do with aging infrastructure. They're to do with poor management and maintenance of what we already have.
Thank you so much, Professor. And of course, government is investing about 106 billion rand with regards to its new infrastructure projects. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And that there is Professor Mike Muller. He is at Wits School of Governance and chair of the Water Institute of South Africa's Technical Committee.